Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Kind of Funny Morning Show for September 20th. I really gotta start checking that date before we come into this. My name is Nick Scarpino, of course. I'm joined by the very professional, very amazing Gary Whitta. Gary, thank you so much for coming back in. Yeah!
Yay!
Of course, we're going to be talking about the news. We got a lot of fun things for you guys today. You know the spiel. We're a live show. We do this on Twitch every morning, 11 a.m. If you want to join us, you can be in the chat. You can subscribe to us. You get all sorts of little fun perks for that. Of course, if you have Amazon Prime, you get Twitch Prime, so you get one free subscription every month. You got to hurry up. You can put that to us. But you know, if you don't want to give that to us, give it to someone because it's just a waste of money if not. Also, we're on iTunes if you guys want to listen to this, and we're on YouTube later. So if you don't have time to watch this live, you're probably watching this on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. Please do me a solid. Leave a nice comment on this and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We like those subscription numbers. They're fun. They look cool. And I brag about them a lot, to be perfectly honest. Gary, you have come in today for a number of reasons, but I have one quick thing to ask you. Like, normally we start the show off, we go through a few housekeeping things, right? We tell people about all the new stuff that's happening on our channel. For instance, Cooking with Greggy, episode 2 is live right now for everyone, and episode 3 is live for Patreon subscribers. That's fun. There's a new party mode up. But I want to throw all that by the way. So here's the big question I have for you. Let's bring this up, cool, Greg. Now, every October, you do something fun on your Twitter, where you turn your name to Scary Whitta.
Oh, that's right. I only have I get to do that in 2 more days.
You do get to that. So my question is, what's it going to be this October?
It's the same every year.
Is it
it's actually it's a 3-month thing for me. In October, I'm Scary Whitta. In November, I'm Gravy Whitta because I like Thanksgiving.
Absolutely, you do.
And in December, I'm Merry Whitta.
Fantastic.
It's a 3-month smorgasbord of hilarious seasonal Twitter names.
I love it, and I'm going to throw this out there for the reason I love it. Obviously, some more people who are more creative than me do this, but they used to do this all the time with the Simpsons Halloween special, where they would change everyone's names.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Things like that, and that's what it reminds me of, and I love that so much.
But they actually had funny jokes.
They did.
Theirs were pretty good.
They did. Yours is what we call a classic.
Yes. And it's a popular enough meme now, because I love, this is my favorite time of the year, from the onset of Halloween, pretty much all of October, through Thanksgiving, November, and the whole fall thing. And then into Christmas, of course. It's my favorite time of the year.
If you had to pick one, you get Halloween, you get Thanksgiving, you get Christmas. What's your favorite?
Well, I think I
grapple with this a lot.
It's tough. It's weird. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and now now you see everything through her eyes, and she loves Halloween and she loves Christmas. I think she maybe loves Halloween a little bit more than Christmas. I don't know, because Halloween you get candy, and Christmas you get other stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad I'll never have to pick.
Is she as into Star Wars as the rest of us?
She knows who Darth Vader is, and she has like a general sense of it, and she has a lightsaber that she likes to wave around. She hasn't seen one of the movies yet. I think a little bit older, and she'll be ready to see the movies. But she knows that Daddy has something to do with the whole Star Wars universe, and she's interested to get into it. She watched the first few minutes of Star Wars about a year ago, and was very fascinated by Vader and the whole universe. But I think maybe another year before she's fully ready to fully grok it. So
then, do you let her pick her own Halloween costume at that point after she's seen Star Wars, or does she always have to dress as one of the Star Wars characters?
She always gets. I mean, you can't make her do anything she doesn't want to do. She knows way ahead of time. She already knows what she wants to be for Halloween.
What's the costume this year?
I believe it's Lego Batgirl.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, she has a really good Lego Batgirl outfit.
We were talking about the Lego movies earlier before we went on, and I actually wanted to ask you, did you actually get a chance to see Lego Batman?
Yeah, like 89 million times now, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Again, once you have kids,
once you have the kid,
you watch movie. I've seen the Trolls movie probably 1,000 times.
I will say the Lego Batman movie, I watched the original Lego movie, Tim Miller, right? Tim Miller and Phil Lord. I watched that and I was like, this is pretty cool, I like this, but I watched it with my wife. She's not really super into that. I got a chance to watch the Lego Batman movie on the plane just by myself, no one judging me, and I'll tell you what, fantastic.
Well, I tell you what I love about it, and again, I say this, my view on entertainment and a lot of things has changed since I became a parent. And I think we talked about this last time. This is why I have a deep disagreement with Greg on the current iteration of Batman and Superman, is I find it really weird and a bit sad that you can't take your kids to see Superman at the movies anymore, because it's not for them anymore. It's not for
it's a little too dark.
Kids. It's for grown-up kids. It's for us, and we love those movies. But I can't take my my kid to go see Justice League. I don't think I can because it looks like it's too grown up.
It might be a little too grown up.
And so what I loved about what they did with the Lego Batman movie was they made a Batman movie that kids can enjoy, which is something we haven't seen in a long time.
And I will go out on a limb though and say that was one of the best Batman movies made in the last, I mean, since the '89 Batman. I really liked it a lot. I thought the action was great. The humor was there. It told a very good story. There was a lot of heart in it. Jen Miller.
Yeah, it was a legit.
Shaking your head out for
it was a legit Batman movie.
You haven't seen it yet? No.
It's good.
It's really good.
It's a lot of fun.
It has moments that I would say the laugh out loud moments that you're a little embarrassed because you realize you've just laughed out loud on a plane where everyone's trying to sleep. I was on a plane to Denmark, and it was super. Oh, maybe this wasn't Denmark. This might have been. Doesn't matter. Everyone was very quiet, and I laughed out loud at a couple of the Michael Cera lines. I was that guy. I was like, ha! I'm sorry, everybody. Go back to sleep. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be okay. Gary. Let's get into the news real quick. First news story, the most important news story of the day. Gary has written. No. We're going to go into this. Actually, I flipped.
This is more important than that, apparently, which I find.
I like this better.
Okay.
We'll go into Hugh in a second, but can you bring up the Amazon link? Cool, Greg.
Yeah.
There we go. There it is. Right. Nope.
Oh,
the next Amazon link.
Professional operation.
There it is, right there. I know. You were mentioning how we're too big for our britches these days.
I know.
We're still
I love that you're still kind of adding just enough amateurism to make it to keep it real.
Stay authentic.
Make it feel like you've never fully kind of crossed over into
too far off
professional broadcasters.
Actually, speaking of which, I should probably bring up the Twitch chat. There we go. We have it here too. But
this is very off-putting, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, to be getting like real-time people saying, Gary looks terrible or whatever. Like, I'm supposed to just roll with.
I don't think no one said that Gary looks
let's
terrible.
see.
People love you.
Let's see.
People love you.
The very first one I saw when I first came on the screen was someone saying, "Damn, Greg got old."
It's okay. A lot of people like to tell me that I need to get more sleep.
I hear worse every day.
Gary, you've written yet another amazing thing. A new book. You're
one of the writers. One of many.
You can see all of them right here, which is fantastic. But
yes,
this
more
book,
than 40 writers.
Star Wars from a certain point of view is the newest Gary Whitta project. I'm just putting your name on it because.
I'm the only one here.
In front of me.
The only one who's shown up.
Let's talk about this for a second because this is a really cool idea. How did you become a part of it? What is this book, first off?
Okay, so it's a really, really cool idea. What they wanted to do is, obviously, 2017 is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. The original Star Wars came out in 1977. And so for the 40th anniversary, what they wanted to do was something that would celebrate that anniversary of the original film. And so they came up with this great idea from a certain point of view, which of course is a famous kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi quote, of not retelling the movie, but kind of fleshing out the original film through the points of views of background characters. Mm-hmm. So, like for example, one of the stories in the book is written from the point of view of the barkeeper from Mos Eisley Canteen.
Interesting. Okay.
And so it's all moments and all scenes from the original film that you remember, but told from a different perspective because it's from one of the other characters in the background. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I think one of them is the stormtrooper who bumps his head as he goes through the Death Star hallway. It's kind of a famous blooper from the original film. There's a story that's told entirely from the point of view of the Dianoga, which is the trash compactor monster that grabs Luke's leg and kind of pulls him under. And there's one told from the point of view of Biggs, one from the point of view of Mon Mothma, one from the point of view of Grand Moff Tarkin. So all different. So it's all scenes that you remember from the original film, but given a different perspective.
Now your story, who did you write?
So I got to, this is actually really cool the way this worked out because of my association with helping to write Rogue One. That what we came up with was, I wrote, it's actually the first story, it's the story that opens the book because the stories are laid out in chronological order. So if you read the stories in the order they're published in printed in, that will take you through chronologically the story of the movie.
Awesome.
And so mine comes first simply because it's the very first, chronologically it comes first in the film. Actually, it's the very first part of the movie. So if you remember how Rogue One ended with the Tantive 4 kind of hyperspacing away from Scarif with the stolen Death Star plans.
Right.
And then if you look at the beginning of A New Hope, which is the same ship now being chased by Darth Vader over Tatooine, there's a little gap there, right, between them jumping away in hyperspace and then being picked up again in another part of the galaxy over a different planet. Like what happened between Scarif and Tatooine. And so I got to bridge that little gap. So for anyone who feels like there was a little gap between the end of Rogue One and the beginning of New Hope, this story bridges that gap, and it does it through the point of view of Captain Ramus Antilles, who, if you remember A New Hope. We intercepted no transmissions. We're on a diplomatic mission. That's that guy. That's Captain Antilles.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's also this. I don't know how many people really put this together, but it's the same character who comes up to Princess Leia at the end of Rogue One and says, "The transmission we received." He's the one who gives Leia the Death Star plans.
Okay.
Prepare the escape pods. That's the same guy, just played by different actors because they were like almost 40 years apart.
Right, 40 years apart.
And then the story that I wrote gets you from what is it they've sent us to we intercepted no transmissions. So it's fun.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, is it, and noob question, is he Wedge Antilles' dad?
No, they're not related.
At all?
No, I think a lot of people always thought that because Antilles, but I think Antilles is just kind of like the Smith, or the Jones of the Star Wars. Yeah, it's a common misconception because that name is pretty specific, but my understanding is they're not related.
Well, you would be the foremost authority on the subject.
Well, hardly but you have
currently sitting in this room.
You got to do your homework. Yeah,
that's awesome. So this book is out and available to the public October 3rd.
Yeah, Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
It's just in time for Scary Whitta. So if you guys want to
I will be Scary Whitta by the time you're reading this book.
Twitter
you can pre-order this now. Oh, and I should mention that all of the writers who contributed to this book worked for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we all donated our stories, and all of what would normally be our royalties from the stories go to a charity that gets books in the hands of children that wouldn't otherwise have books.
That is awesome.
And the publisher, I believe, also made a massive donation to that charity as well.
So if you're gonna get a copy of this book, get the most expensive or get the hard copy because it goes to a good cause.
There's a Kindle and
Also,
there's no paper. Oh yeah, it's called First Book. Has donated a mission of providing equal access to quality education. It's a leading nonprofit that provides new books, learning materials, and other essentials to educators and organizations serving children in need. So if you buy this book, some of your money will go towards that very noble
that is awesome
effort. And also there's like 40 awesome Star Wars stories for the price of one.
It's also very entertaining, which is good. You're going to be signing this copy.
I will sign it.
And then we're going to give it away to
obviously
one
I'm only
person.
I'm just one of the. I'm just like this very bottom name down here because they did this alphabetically. So I came last in the running order here alphabetically, but first in the actual reading order of the book chronologically.
But you have the distinction of being the guest who has most reappeared on our shows. I think.
Is that right now?
Probably. I'm just gonna say that. We're just gonna run with it because on the internet, if something just catches on, it's truth.
I was giving Greg some grief before the show because I remember when I could just walk onto like the flagship Greggy show whenever I wanted. Now you guys have become such a big deal. It's maybe we can get you on in 6 weeks after like all our like celebrity star-studded guests have had their bit.
We do like seemingly 50 podcasts a week. I don't know anymore.
It's a lot. You guys make a lot of content.
Greg just keeps lining them up and I keep knocking them down. You know? I show up. I bring the money maker and I just sit in that chair.
Who's the biggest guest you've had? Who's the most famous person you've had on the show?
The most famous person? That's a good question, actually. To me, you and Max are probably the most famous
Landis?
people. Yeah, but you guys, because you guys work on such amazing high-profile projects that it's hard to beat that. I mean, you freaking wrote a Star Wars film.
But Max, come on, he came in late. He saw that you guys were like a big deal, and I was like, I'm going to get in on some of that. You got to remember the people that were there from the very beginning.
The unintentional knee touch.
I said to Greg earlier, if it wasn't for Don't Touch My Knee, I don't know if you guys would be where you are today.
We definitely would not.
I feel like that was the Rubicon moment.
Greg was on the track of, going to maybe a CNN or one of those reputable news sources, and then he touched your knee.
He could have become very reputable.
And that knee touch set him,
sealed his fate,
veered him off to a
He got a laugh, and he was like, "Wait, I like this.
Wait a minute, I like this.
Lowbrow works.
Wait, are you telling me that
this is the way to go?
Have to be like
lowest common denominator.
I can just touch." And I have been trying to, Jen. I've been trying to mirror that success my entire career.
The race to the bottom?
Well, just, unintentionally or, quote unquote, unintentionally touching people, I think is right where that's my, comfort zone area. I feel like that's my level of humor.
I don't even know. The last time I was on this show back in December, I cried. Do you remember? We had a real emotional moment.
Great show.
That was a very emotional.
If you guys have not seen that, I think that was the show after we had all seen Rogue One, and maybe the week after. And you were lucky enough. Well, you were kind enough to come on.
I was here like the day. I think it was like I think I came on. I think I came in like literally like the day the movie opened or something.
Probably.
Just like mid-December.
We had seen it maybe earlier.
And I was feeling very emotional about the whole thing. And I remember telling some story about some old lady that came up to me who had seen the movie and she told some sweet story about going to see the original film.
That's right, you said she had like stood in line in the late 70s for
she stood in line in 1977 to go back to this, to see the original film, and she came up to me and said that movie, we had just come out of Rogue One, and she said that movie made me feel like I did in 1977. I got all choked up, and I was very embarrassed. I think you guys can't put that out. I don't want people to think I have emotions.
No, you don't want that.
But like, the cat was out of the bag.
You are to most people, 99% of people, you are a writing machine.
But those are the kind of moments though, because I remember at the moment when that was happening, I could see like the little thing at the back of Greg's head going like, "This is internet gold."
He loves it.
It's like when Barbara Walters manages to make someone cry in an interview or something.
Well, I think the reason is a lot of people, and I don't want to speak for our audience too much, but I think people tune into us because we do have that level of seeing behind the curtain authenticity, right? And we're not afraid to show emotions, or we're not afraid to actually have those real moments. For the most part, we're senseless shills, 99% of the time. But there's that 1% of the time that people really look forward to, which is where we actually do something real.
Every now and again, there's that little moment.
Peer behind that curtain.
That makes it worth slogging through all the other stuff.
Exactly.
To find that little nugget of gold that's in there somewhere.
Right. We hire all these, like, look at this guy, for instance. He's our newest hire. This is Andy. Andy, you just met Gary earlier today. But, I mean, he is just the epitome of a made-up human being. You're not even real. That's not even his real hair. What? He doesn't have a real beard. We just piecemealed him together based on what we thought the audience would like.
Based on surveys and demographics. And
yeah, he's a live-action character creator.
It's like when they put together boy bands.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
you're just a producer.
You're the Poochie of Kind of Funny.
Sure.
10% more attitude.
Are you talking? Is that a band or?
Is he kidding me?
He's very young.
This is. I'm getting flashbacks. I told someone this. It's funny. I don't want to think about this. I was in a World of Warcraft guild for years, and I was having a great time.
Me too.
And I had to quit because no one else in my guild knew who the Smiths were.
Really?
Yeah. I made some reference to like some Smiths song, and everyone else in the guild was like half my age. Went, "What? Who's that?" And I was like, "I can't hang with you guys anymore."
I'm done.
And I quit the guild. I slash G quit that later that day.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Did you realize what did you do with all that extra time?
Oh my God. Well, you know what it was? I mean, that was when I quit the guild, but I didn't actually quit the game until I typed /played. And that's when it tells you how much of your life you've wasted. And I go,
do I even want to know that number?
I calculated the time I spent on that game, and I put it up against like how long would it take me to write a script or a book or whatever, and I thought like, all the stuff that I could have made. And I
like to give these guys
stuff.
a lot of shit. Now again, I play it up a lot. I love video games. It's fine. I don't play them often myself because a lot of them don't speak to me. But right now, I'm not sure if you've heard of it or not, but a little game called Destiny 2 has hit the shelves. And every time a Destiny game or a game like that comes out, I see all of my friends come into work the next day like they have a hangover. And I'm like, what happened? I'm like, oh man, I was
It's like having a second job. It's like having a second job.
But you think to yourself, I think you put it, I mean, again, do what you want to do. Play the if the game speaks to you, you love it, you're enjoying yourself, great. But I like to, every once in a while, I like to make fun of people because I'm like, you spent 15 hours doing that. What could you have accomplished with that 15 hours? You know?
No,
you're never gonna get that time
the thing
back.
is, it's not all about accomplishment. Sometimes you've accomplished something just by having fun and kicking back.
Of course, and entertainment is important.
The issue
I can't, in all good conscience, say I can't criticize you for playing Destiny 2 when I'm watching. I'm not even watching movies on Netflix. For the most part, I'm just spending hours blading through the movies and curating my queue, and then I go to sleep.
Nick is someone who said, "Let me check out Biodome. I haven't seen that in a while."
How dare you, sir? I watched Biodome, and I was so inspired by Pauly Shore's earlier work that I went back and bought In the Army Now. I rented In the Army Now because I love Pauly Shore. I love early Pauly Shore.
That's worse than playing video games.
I will admit that's probably true. If you're comparing the two in a bad way, again, I criticize because I think it's funny. I'm mostly just making fun of people because I have low self-esteem. But to each his own. But you're playing Destiny 2
I've been playing it. I'm playing it a little bit on PlayStation 4. I think when the PC version comes out, I may switch to that. But again, I skipped the original Destiny entirely. And I thought, okay, I'll try it now because I want to be everyone's having fun playing. I want to be one of the cool kids. I want to be able to be part of the conversation about because I didn't even understand what Destiny was.
Okay.
And then I played Destiny. I was like, okay, it's Halo, but World of Warcraft. Basically, it's constant grinding.
It's the two most addictive things.
And when I recognized that it was a time sink kind of game, I stepped back from it. It was like, this is going to be a problem for me. Because I don't have the time to. I have time to play games. I don't have the time for that constant carrot on a stick. Congratulations, you've got a new piece of armor. But it's going to be garbage in about 2 weeks, so you're going to need to do this all again.
Yeah.
And there is a drug nature to
There's
it.
There's an addictive quality to it.
You're so happy to get that shiny new gun, and you're so excited about your power level ticking up a point. But it's an illusion. It's fake achievement, right? You haven't actually achieved like all the things that I was so proud of achieving in World of Warcraft back in the day. If I go back and look, if I were to re-open my account and look at all the stuff that's sitting there in my bank, I'd be like, yeah, this is just trash. Because it doesn't, it doesn't stick, it doesn't age, right? It's ephemeral. It goes away immediately.
I will say this though, to your earlier point, and I should note that Gary's going to be on kind of on Games Daily today, so I'm sure we'll go into a little bit more news on the video game world in a second. But I should note I like to make fun of it, and then I went down and visited one of my friends, and I saw the setup they had, and I was listening to the stories of them trying to do, and I guess there was a first raid that happened, and they couldn't finish it.
No, the first raid apparently was really hard.
It was really hard, and I'm like, oh, I mean, I get it, I understand. Like, what a fun thing to do with your friends. You sit there, you grind, like, you go, you have fun. It's a team sport. You have to like coordinate. You have to do all these fun things, and then they didn't accomplish it, and they were like, we have to go back and do it again. It does sound fun.
Like I said, it's ephemeral, but in the moment, it does feel like a real accomplishment. In the same way, like a chicken dinner in PUBG feels like it feels so good to get.
I wouldn't know. I've never had one.
Not
gotten close.
Not even in a squad or anything?
No, my team, the last time I played, we did this Let's Play reunion last weekend. I played with the Achievement Hunter guys who actually know how to play. And we were 6th.
So it's incredibly gratifying when you get one of those, when you get a chicken dinner. And the same way, I remember going back to World of Warcraft. Like, I still remember years and years ago, people who play World of Warcraft remember there was a dungeon called Anchorage, and there was a particular boss called Cthulhu that was really, really hard to drop. And when we finally did it after like a week of trying, it was just the greatest. Like, you're hearing everyone in your head say, "Yeah!" Everyone's so happy, and you feel like you've achieved something. Yeah. So in that moment, it's tremendously gratifying. But like I said, it's ephemeral because then the week later, all that loot's out of date, and you've got to go do it all over again. And so I really like Destiny. I like the handling and the mechanics, and it feels like they've really thought it out, and I'm sure they'll continue to build on it. I've been playing these games for long enough now, and especially as a parent, to recognize there are certain kinds of games that are too much in conflict with the rest of trying to live a balanced life. Right. And so I have to set those aside.
I feel you on that. Let's go into a couple news stories real quick.
Sure.
Cool, Greg, pull up this first one. Sad news today, actually rather last night. Hugh Hefner, Playboy founder, dies at 91. Of course, if you're not familiar with Hugh Hefner, well, you probably are familiar with Hugh Hefner. I'm not even going to bother wagering, saying some sort of comparison there. But this comes from Variety. It says Playboy magazine founder Hugh Hefner died on Wednesday at the Playboy mansion in Homely Hills, neighborhood of West Los Angeles. He was 91. The media mogul's influence went far beyond publishing. He created the sexual revolution nearly single-handedly. It's a bold statement. With some help from the advent of birth control plus pill and the rise of feminism. After starting the status quo shattering Playboy magazine in 1953, Hefner went on to launch TV and film companies, finance documentaries, and preside over the Hollywood social scene from his bubbling jacuzzi at the mansion, a frequent location for industry events. The mansion, which has become somewhat run down, was sold in 2016, but the terms of the sale specify that he was allowed to live there until his death. He is survived by his wife, Crystal, and 4 grown children, Christy, who serves as CEO of Playboy Enterprise for more than 20 years, David, Marston, and Cooper, who currently serves as Chief Creative Officer at the company. Quote, "My father lived an exceptional and impactful life as a media and cultural pioneer and a leading voice behind some of the most significant social and cultural movements of our time in advocating free speech, civil rights, and sexual freedom. He defined a lifestyle and ethos that lie at the heart of the Playboy brand, one of the most recognizable and enduring in history. He will be greatly missed by many, including his wife Crystal, my sister Christy, and my brothers David and Marston, and all of us at the Playboy Enterprises."
So did it say there who he sold who owns the Playboy mansion now?
I don't know. That's a great question.
But he was still living there.
Yes, according to this article, he lived there up until his death, and at which time I'm assuming whatever person and or entity has bought the mansion it's probably bittersweet for them because they're like, well, half is great, but now I get to actually take ownership of this house, which I assume they'll just tear down.
Yeah, it's almost like it's weird. You would think like the current occupant still living there would be like a no-no for selling a house, but like it's almost like in that case, it's almost like, oh yeah, and like Hugh Hefner's still like wandering around the place. Like you'll occasionally see him.
I would do it as long as I was allowed to move in, but Hef was just there.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. You just like see each other in the kitchen every now and again. Like, hey, how's it going?
Hey, Hef, how's it going?
The house is big enough, I would imagine, that you're not going to. It's not like you're
Jen has an update.
Getting in each other's way.
Who took it?
Playboy Mansion sold to Twinkies owner.
Twinkies owner?
He owns like Hostess cakes?
Yeah.
I thought they went under. Oh, maybe he's
they came back.
That's right, they did come back.
Darren Metropoulos, principal at private equity firm Metropoulos & Co., which owns Twinkies, Maker Hofstas brands.
I wonder what they're going to do.
But that would be like, how fun would that be for just, you're like, Hef's just holding on, we're just going to let him live there. But you still live in the house. That is a great reality show
a house of that size, someone else could be living there and you'd never know it, right?
So I hear it's smaller. Have you ever been there?
No.
I hear it's
smaller. Opportunities to go over the
is.
years and never really felt like wanting to go. I always feel like it would be. I've spoken to people that have been, and they would say, "Yeah, it's great," but like you feel slightly grody being there.
I feel like again,
and it isn't as impressive when you get there. It's kind of like Legoland. You go there and go, "Oh, everything's actually kind of gross."
I think it's indicative of Hefner himself, right? Where like you look at Hugh Hefner, and there's a great. If you guys are interested, there's a really good docudrama series on Amazon called American Playboy: The Hugh Hefner Story that. Basically chronicles his entire life from starting Playboy on to about the early 2000s. But it's interesting because you watch that and there are parts of me that go, oh wow, he really was trying to do things for women's rights, for civil rights, for the sexual revolution and all that jazz. But then it's hard not to look at the work that he's done and see it as a little bit, I don't know what the right term would be for it, but conflicting with those values that he was trying to put out there, you know? And I think the Playboy Mansion is indicative of that. Like, I think if I had gone there earlier in my life, I'd be like, this is great. But going there now, I can't imagine that would be a good look on Twitter. Like, hey, I'm around all these scantily clad people, and this is the party scene that maybe kind of feels a little outdated.
I mean, that whole thing, you know, booth babes and parties where there's like girls dancing around and stuff. You know, I was in the game industry when that was quite.
I was there as well.
Commonplace.
I remember when E3 banned them.
Over the last 10 years or so, that's become toxic, and rightly so, I think. You know, because we're obviously becoming more. I think a lot more kind of
very aware,
grown up,
a lot more culturally
and
aware,
sensitive, and culturally
proper
in the way that we think about these things. And so a lot of that's gone away. And we talked about before the show. I mean, I think, you know, the time in which he has passed is politically is a very interesting time for it to have happened. I think we said before the show, like even 10 years ago, if he had died at 81 instead of 91, I think back then you would have had a very different conversation about what his legacy is and what he meant for women and sexual politics and everything else than the one that we will now have today. Because again, you know, gender politics and the way that we look at equality between men and women, I think, has evolved and progressed so much, even in just in the last 10 years in popular culture, that, I mean, I'm seeing it right now. There's literally like one of the side links there, most viewed, good riddance to Hugh Hefner's sexual revolution. So you're seeing a lot of stories talking about what a positive force he was, but also a lot, you know, talking about how, quite the opposite. So I think it's a very interesting time to be having a conversation about what his life and contribution to society meant. And I'm not educated enough, I think I should go watch that documentary, to have much an opinion for myself, other than we all remember when we found our first Playboy as a kid.
I think that sticks out in a lot of men's memories. I remember the same thing.
Do you remember the first?
Oh yeah, I had a buddy of mine named, I'm not going to throw his name out there, maybe he doesn't want to talk, but I had a friend of mine whose dad had a garage full of them. And so it was like, you'd go into the dad's garage, and his dad was like this incredibly like big alpha male who was a carpenter and like built cars seemingly with just two hands. He just took things together and then a Mustang popped out. And I remember walking in and going like, what are all these magazines? And it was wall to wall in his garage. And my buddy had, of course, stolen a bunch of them and hid them under his bed because his dad's never going to know. There's no possible way you can chronicle every monthly magazine that you've had since the early 70s. And so I just remember looking through this going like, this is the best thing man's ever created. This is, of course, me as a 13-year-old.
Do you remember having lots of strange feelings that you didn't quite yet understand what was going on?
No, I knew. I kind of knew. I had an older brother, so I knew kind of what was going on there, and I had had a few run-ins with pornography as well, so I kind of understood what was going on.
What do you mean by run-ins with pornography?
I had some friends whose parents had some porn tapes and VHS. Remember VHS?
Of course.
You put them in. They had some tapes.
You put them in the machine.
Yeah, you put them in the machine. You press play. You had to rewind. I remember a few of my friends their parents had tapes that they thought they had hidden, but of course, and this is probably good practice for you. If you think you've hidden something from your child, you have not.
You have.
They will find that. They will ferret
everything.
It out. Because they have nothing better to do.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
You've trapped them in this house, and they just get smarter, and eventually they'll figure their way out.
That kind of giddy thrill of discovering like a dog-eared porno magazine in your dad's garage or in like your friend's house or whatever, that doesn't exist anymore, because now you just type in "I want to see hardcore porn" and there's just like an avalanche of it.
You just type in boobs and it's just
boobs, please,
and that's what you want.
.com and
it's
and
very
so
weird.
It's
too easy for kids these days.
It's too easy for kids.
They're spoiled.
And the weird thing is, I do kind of mean that in a good way, because there was something exciting about. I remember that I don't think it was a Playboy. It was something else. But like the first nudie mag that I ever You know what I think it was? I think it was actually, and this is like, some kids may remember this, it was like a catalog that had like a lingerie section. So it wasn't even porn, but like when you're that young, the bar for what is considered porn is very low.
They did. There's a part of the Hugh Hefner documentary that talks about how they used to get those early pictures of women, and there used to be calendars, like catalogs of calendars, that like photographers would sell these pictures to them. So there was this weird ecosystem where you could go and you could buy and license nude or semi-nude pictures of women and put them in magazines, and that's what he ended up doing for the first few, until they figured out, hey, we've got enough capital that we can hire our own photographer, hire our own models, and bring them in and have that sort of like more Playboy look. It's very fascinating to see how that whole thing evolved. Of course, now again, it's just the internet is just a candy shop for whatever you want, and you can find anything you want on there. Which I'm conflicted about. I don't have children myself, but I'm like, how do you keep this loaded gun away from these children? I guess you just can't, right? I don't know.
I mean, I guess you set up your computers at home that have parental controls on them if you can, but that's all you can do.
If I've learned one thing from working around a bunch of young people is that I don't know how technology works, and they will eventually figure it out, and they'll better me. And I would be worried that they lock me out of the porn.
My kid, she's 5. She has a hand-me-down iPad that she uses for games, little apps, and fun things. Every now and again, she'll give it to me. It's like, how have you even done what you've done?
She's hacking around on it.
Yeah, it's like, what is this, Joshua? Who is that? Like,
would you like to play a game? She's like, I sure would. You're like, no. Thank you for that reference, by the way.
So I'm glad you got it as well.
It's good war games. I watch war games at least once every 2 months.
I was just thinking of it this morning because a friend of mine posted. Apparently, I think it's an anniversary of Galaga. Came out on this date, I think something like 40 years ago or something, and somebody posted a video of Matthew Broderick in War Games. The first time you see him, he's playing Galaga.
Oh, okay.
It took me right back there.
I love that movie because I remember distinctly as an adult watching it again and going, he had like 5 games to pick from. It was like chess, checkers, and global political annihilation.
Well, I always remember
why would you pick that one?
The list was always. I always loved the way they did that list. A great moment in that movie, and it really is a great movie, even as anachronistic as it looks right now. Acoustic couples and all that.
It's still very relevant.
Still a terrific film.
Very relevant still.
Really terrific film.
AI.
Especially, I mean, more so now than ever, where Elon Musk and people saying AI is going to, we're going to end up with Skynet if we're not careful. That movie kind of predicted that in many, many ways. And I always remember the classic moment, they turn your key and all that kind of stuff at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time he hacks into Joshua, he's like, what games do you want to play? Chess, checkers, tic-tac-toe, Asian invasion.
Right,
it starts to get, look at Russian Atlantic Alliance or whatever, and then the final one is global thermonuclear war, and it starts to get like more and more ominous, and you go, wait, what have I actually hacked into here?
What the, any sane person would be like, you know what, I'm gonna back off this one a little bit.
It's a fantastic movie in many ways, and I never get tired of going back to watch it again, War Games.
Me as well, and I love, I forget the actor's name, but I like the guy that plays the person who programmed Joshua. I forget his name.
I forget, that actor died recently, but Stephen Falcon, who...
Yes, God, so good, had that great voice. And then he had that weird pterodactyl kite that always used to freak me out when I was a kid.
Oh, that's right. It
was very strange, and I was like, I don't understand what this is, but he goes into
great movie.
Next news story. This one's near and dear to my heart. You thought Die Hard was dead. It's not. Die Hard 6 is happening, but with a twist. This story is from The Telegraph. It says, because few of us would say no to an I'm not going to go that. Len Wiseman, co-creator of Underworld franchise and director of 2007's Die Hard 4.0, has been teasing the new film since 2015 when he announced the title Die Hard Year One on Twitter. The film will be partly set in the past, with John McClane depicted as a rookie cop in the 70s New York. The young McClane will be played by a different actor, with Bruce Willis appearing in scenes that bookend the film, meaning Bruce Willis will collect probably a hefty paycheck without having to stretch his legs too much. But after being stuck in development for nearly 2 years, Wiseman has revealed to Deadline that production is finally underway, with casting for the role of young Willis having already commenced. He said, quote, "The right casting for this role is crucial. Those bare feet have some very big shoes to fill." That just got me back on board.
I see what he did there.
That got me back on board, I'll tell you that right now. The new Die Hard could also be envisioned as an attempt to reboot the franchise with a new star following the dismal reaction to Jay Courtney's Jack McClane, John's estranged son, who appeared in A Good Day to Die Hard, which is the last Die Hard film. That film also did not do so well in the US, but ended up making good profits overseas. Willis told Showbiz Spy in 2007 via Movie Hole. God, there's a lot of interesting names for web portals these days that cover movies, that he has every intention to retire from the franchise after his 6th installment. Quote, in the next few years, they could easily find a replacement for me or call the character someone else. But for me, I want to do Die Hard 5, then one final Die Hard movie, Die Hard 6, before hanging that white vest up for good. Quote,
that's Bruce Willis talking?
That's what he said. Apparently, I don't remember Bruce Willis ever being quoted saying he wanted to do more Die Hard, but apparently he did. He goes on to say, at the moment, I can run and I can fight on screen, but there will come a time when I no longer want to do that. That's when I'll step aside, away from the Die Hard films. So they are. This is not so much a reboot. This is I guess, a prequel to Die Hard.
I don't know. We'll wait and see.
My first impression of all these is I don't want this to happen. But I've been around long enough to know that if you get a good group of people together, there could be a fun story you can tell there.
It's like like it said before the show, I gave up dismissing movies based on a concept after Lego Movie and 21 Jump Street. Which strangely, they're both the same guys, right? Chris Miller and Phil Lord.
Yeah.
Who, I remember when they're making a movie out of Lego. I was like, cynical merchandising, cash grab, get kids into theaters.
And to be fair, all we'd seen before that were those sort of like lower budget done Lego movies that were very much aimed at kids.
And 21 Jump Street is like, really? Another, like they're at the bottom of the barrel. They bring in these, but again, they found a way to do both of those movies that was genius and valid and great. And we all love both of those films. So I feel like if you have talented people, you can make, a good, pretty much something good out of any idea or concept that you have. This one, I mean, again, like, am I interested? No, but I would like nothing more than to be surprised and for this series of films to be invigorated. Although I would argue that probably more than any other, if there was ever like a film that could just as happily have just been one film and leave it at that, Die Hard.
Die Hard could have been that. Yeah.
I actually like the second one.
I like the second one. I like the third one too. I'm not afraid to say Die Hard with a Vengeance. Not a bad movie. I enjoyed it.
They fell off a cliff after that though.
They went a little. Actually, you know what? The fourth one. It's
the one with Kevin Smith as the computer hacker.
Yes, Kevin Smith as the computer hacker. It had Timothy Olyphant as the bad guy, and it had.
Didn't it have Shia LaBeouf in it?
No, it had Justin Long.
That's right.
Was the character.
One of those guys, yeah.
And there's a scene, a great scene where he takes down a helicopter with a car, and it's fantastic. It's at that point that I think the franchise morphed a little bit more into a superhero movie than it did a Die Hard movie, but I still found that very, very entertaining. We're not going to talk about the next Die Hard though, because that one was. I
didn't see that one.
Well,
it's a tough movie to. I mean, as hugely successful as it was, it's a tough movie to franchise out because the whole point of the first film is. It's got 1 in a million. This is the kind of thing that happens once in your lifetime. Right. It's something that crazy. The right guy or the wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time. And even by the second one, even on the second one, they instantly started having like, how can the same thing happen to the same? Because they knew it was ridiculous.
Right.
The only way they get away with it is to make a joke out of it.
The third one, they explained it a little bit in that his family
because it was referenced that they brought the first one back. Yeah.
Right. He was like, look, you killed my brother or whatever. I got to mess with you.
So we'll see.
But you do actually start getting into the Murder, She Wrote conundrum at a certain point where you're like, how come everywhere this person goes, someone dies?
I know. I had to say there was another show around that time called Heart to Heart.
Oh yeah.
And it was the same thing. It's like, how do these people still get invited anywhere?
I would
because someone is going to die every single time. Yeah. I always like that theory that Jessica Fletcher was the greatest serial killer ever.
She has to have been. She has to have been.
Because at some point you would look at that years later and go, wait, there was one person who was there for every single. It was the only common factor between every single one of these murders.
It's like later.
It's Jessica Fletcher.
Later
and we know she's an expert in murders and stuff and clues and investigations because she writes these thriller novels. So she goes somewhere, murders someone, and then brilliantly frames some poor bastard for it, and then moves on to the next one. Genius.
It's like years later when they have DNA, finally they're like, wait a minute, we have to open up all these cases.
We have to reopen all the cases.
We have to reopen all these cases. Oh, man. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I love Die Hard. Next news story. Cool, Greg.
Another sixth film.
This they covered yesterday, but I just wanted to go over the story while I had you here because James Cameron has officially confirmed that the next Terminator movie will be a direct sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and the other movies will be, quote, a bad dream. Anything that came after that would be either a bad dream or...
I thought that was a very provocative thing that Cameron said. Those other films, we're just saying they were a bad dream.
I'll read the quote here. He says, quote, "This is a continuation of the story from Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, and we're pretending the other films were a bad dream, or an alternate timeline, which is permissible in our multiverse. This was really driven more by Tim Miller, who was the director of Deadpool, than anyone else, surprisingly, because I came in pretty agnostic about where we took it. The only thing I insisted on was that we somehow revamp it and reinvent it for the 21st century. And if there's anyone that can do that, it's James Cameron, because he has been known to revamp things over and over again. I think it's interesting because I don't know how much audiences necessarily need there to be a blanket explanation for that. I think obviously when I think Terminator, that the end of Terminator 2 I think was the most interesting part of the series for me. So I'd like to see where that picks up. I didn't dislike Salvation, and I actually relatively liked Genesis. It was a little oddball and crazy at times.
There were things about Salvation that I liked. I didn't see Genesis. I will say that I'm in for this one just because of Cameron's direct involvement. You know, the last 3 have been made without any of his involvement, as far as I know. But now that he is back in what seems to be a fairly hands-on role, I always, whenever people kind of go about something like this, I always retreat to one of my fundamental rules, which is never bet against Cameron.
Never.
I remember when he was making Titanic. Oh my God, there's all these stories. Oh my God, like the whole film is a metaphor for itself. This big, expensive sinking ship that's going to take everyone down with it. Ended up being the biggest movie of all time.
At the end of that.
Avatar. Oh my God, no, he's gone too far this time. Crazy
3D,
blue,
blue
cat
people,
furry people. What is this? Say what you like about that movie. Still the most successful film in history. And technologically I remember the first time I saw it, sitting in the theater going, this film feels to me like something that fell through like a wormhole from the future. Like this should not be able to exist. What he's doing technically. It was so amazing.
I remember going into that movie thinking, I don't want to like this movie. I'm like, how dare you try to do all these ambitious things, sir? I'm waiting for you to fail, and I was so blown away by that.
Now, there's been a really interesting discussion about that, which is this strange correlation between the fact that it is the most successful film of all time worldwide and in the US, and yet years later, it's left almost no pop culture footprint.
I think,
right? You know what I mean? People don't talk about it.
They abandon it so quickly.
But now, he's going to do all these other. So it's going to be interesting to see them come back. Like, are people going to be excited? And again, I always come back to it. And NBAC, man, never bet against Cameron.
Never.
I will always, until he actually does drop one and go, oh, screwed up that time, which has not yet happened. I will always have faith in Cameron. And so I feel like what he's doing with this approach here, he's built a writer's room of incredibly talented writers. I think they'll come up with something great, and I like the fact that they've freed themselves from whatever canonically may or may not have happened in the last 3 films, and just say, you know, there's everything that is not Cameron. There's the Cameron timeline, right, which is I look at the real one, and then there's the kind of the fan fiction timeline, which is the 3, 4, and 5 that exists currently. So to kind of, I feel like as tired as we all are of like bad Terminator films, this I feel like is the one. There's only one way you're ever going to get a good Terminator film again, is that's if Cameron is closely involved, and he is, and so I'm optimistic.
It reminds me a lot of what we were all hoping for when they were bringing back Superman the first time, Superman Returns. Remember where they said this is going to pick up
Bryan
after?
Singer, right?
Bryan Singer, this is going to pick up
and
after
bringing back the
Superman
music,
2.
and it was,
it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
And I had high hopes for that, and unfortunately it fell a little bit short of the mark. But I feel like this is going to do the same thing, but actually like really succeed.
Let's see.
Well.
I mean, you know, Linda Hamilton's coming back, and there's been a discussion about, well, how do you do? You know, they tried to crack the problem of, well, Schwarzenegger's an old man now. How do you do that? Well, the Terminator has aged, and I didn't see the film, but from people that I spoke to, it seems like that they had a hard time pulling that off. They've got the same problem now with an older Arnold.
Yeah, he's not getting any younger.
And it sounds like they're solving and saying, well, you know, it's an older Terminator. He's been around for a long time, and the skin over the endoskeleton, it ages.
It played okay.
I get it. I feel like they have a better chance of getting that right with the people that are assembled on this film. So we'll see.
I'm hopeful. I mean, remember,
this is a person. Don't you want it to work?
Yes, I do.
Aren't you rooting for another great Terminator film?
Here's the thing. I look at it like this. He gave us all these amazing films, but he gave us True Lies. Let's not forget about True Lies.
And The Abyss.
He has single-handedly made Arnold Schwarzenegger look better than any other filmmaker on the planet. He has made, I mean, not that Arnold Schwarzenegger is not amazing in his own right, but when I got to True Lies, I was like, no way he's going to pull this off.
Have you watched Aliens recently?
Yes.
That film was made in 1986.
It is amazing.
More than 30 years old. You can watch it again. If that film was released and came out in theaters today, you'd be going, this looks incredible.
It does. It's beautiful.
It has not aged a day. There's a couple of model shots that look a bit, that's a model.
Sure.
But for the most part, Go back and watch most movies from the 80s. And the same is true of Star Wars. Go back and watch most movies from the 70s. Star Wars, for a film that was made in 90, go and watch other movies that were made in 1977 and see how much Star Wars looks different and just light years ahead of those. And go back and watch other movies that were made in like the mid to late 80s and compare Aliens and The Abyss to that. They're so far ahead of that. They're made in another dimension entirely.
And you're definitely, and you're getting that sense of it's being made by someone who's really pushing the envelope.
Who is this guy here? Rad Rye Guy 05. Aliens is still a terrible film. Can I block him right from the iPad here? Can I just do that?
Greg, can we ban him forever?
I'll figure it out.
That's
forever.
Perma-death, whatever it is you have, whatever is the scorched earth, most extreme response that you're capable of.
Red Guy, you're going to have to go ahead and delete your Twitter, too. We don't have access to your Twitter account, but please, we'll take it on faith that you're doing that. Go ahead and delete your Twitter, because Aliens is an amazing film.
Hey, Nick, can I throw in a story real quick? I just want to get your opinion on it.
Sure, we're getting a little long, and I apologize, because...
That'll happen with me. I tend to...
I love it. Hocus Pocus film, with entirely new cast, is Disney Channel's Halloween gift for millennials. Now, cool, Greg, I saw this story earlier, but I was like, I don't know how many people are into Hocus Pocus, but apparently if you're into it, go ahead and scroll down, let's read this story. As a Halloween gift to 90s kids, Disney Channel is developing a Hocus Pocus remake that no one asked for, and the worst part, the new TV movie will feature a brand new cast. Yes, you could read that correctly, a Hocus Pocus without Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy. Could very well exist in the near future. Deadline is reporting on Thursday that Scarlett Lacey, known for her work on The Royals, is writing the script, and David Kirshner, who produced the original 1993 film, will be back as an executive producer. The film's original director, Kenny Ortega, High School Musical, and Descendants, will reportedly not return. The film is in early stages of development, so it's likely still a ways out. If it happens at all, there will... Damn, this guy really does not want this movie to happen. There have been rumors that the reboot could happen recently. One of the film's original writers, Mick Garris, told Forbes earlier this week, quote, I have heard they are developing the script. I haven't been involved in it, but I think there will be a sequel. It might be for Disney Channel or Freeform or ABC. I think it will be for television, but I hear that it is moving forward. Cool, Greg, what are your thoughts on this?
I know the internet really upset. I always like more. If they can give me more of what I like, I'm with it. If there's parts of this movie I don't like, I don't watch those parts.
This is not, I wasn't a preteen girl in the 90s, so I feel like this is not, it was never really on my radar.
I'm not.
Is it like a beloved film?
Yeah,
I guess so. I remember it. I remember thinking this is a fun Halloween film.
I've never seen it. Maybe I should check it out. I always like to watch like a lot of Halloween stuff over the Halloween period, so maybe I'll dig out the original and watch it. It
reminds me, it's reminiscent, obviously, and I'm just saying this because it has witches, 3 witches in it, but it's sort of like it's reminiscent of Witches. Remember that movie? A long time ago. And then also The Witches of Eastwick.
I love The Witches of Eastwick. That's kind of the more grown-up version.
Yeah, it was a much more grown-up version. Actually, the original Witches terrified me. It terrified me when I was a kid.
The Roald Dahl movie? Yeah, really scary. The original book is really scary as well. Yeah,
God, that was not it. That was back in the day. You want to talk about times changing? Back in the 70s and 80s, boy, they just were like, kids would be fine with this. They're not worried about it.
They had so much more respect for what kids can take in the 80s than they do now. Like everything's got to be so like, oh my God, kids can't watch that. The original Goonies, they stuck a kid's hand in a blender.
Yeah.
You can get, kids were fine with it. The kids love that shit.
They were like, that's fine. He has 2 hands. He's going to be fine.
You got another. Walk it off.
Walk it off. Don't rub it. Don't rub it. And Gary, of course, we have a tradition here on the show that you like to perpetuate for us, and I will gladly indulge in, which is that you bring us snacks every time you're on.
I did bring some snacks. I feel like if I didn't, I would be remiss.
You would be. We have traditions here. This is a house of traditions. This is a house built on Whitta.
Every time I think I've brought snacks. At least in the post-IGN. I don't know if I ever did it on the IGN show.
I don't know that you did when we were on Up at Noon, but I just remember every time you've been on since Kevin started with us, he gets super excited.
This will be the 3rd time that I've brought snacks.
I can't wait.
I've done it twice before.
Let me, while we're doing this, let's get everyone back in. Greg Miller, are you ready for the snack time?
Yeah.
I'm going to read some tips while Greg gathers up everybody real quick. There shouldn't be too many. Oh, there's a few of them. Hold on. And then we'll eat some snacks, and then we'll do the rest of the show. Panzer G2 says, is Gary Whitta collaborating with Guy Ritchie on Sherlock Holmes 3? Can the world handle such amazingness? Nick, love you, but Instagram stories is breaking my soul. Please ask Kevin for Twitch info. Any comments on whether or not you're
that's weirdly that's a story that kind of got weirdly overreported. This is a very common thing in Hollywood now. They have these writers' rooms. They're literally doing it on Terminator 6 right now. They have a bunch of writers come and sit in a room like on the studio lot and just talk about ideas for what the story of XY film might be. And I was in a room with a bunch of other very talented writers for a week, bashing out story ideas for what we thought the third Sherlock Holmes film could be. And there was a cool thing on like Friday when Robert Downey Jr. comes in and puts his feet up at the end of the table and is like, "What do you got? Tell me some ideas."
Awesome.
And you pitch his ideas to him, and he goes, "No, those are all terrible." And, but I like that one, and it was fun. So whether or not, who knows, any what came out of that room would end up in a Sherlock Holmes film, I don't know. But I'm not like actively. I did a week in a room, and it was something that got picked up by the trade. But it was fun.
That's so awesome.
We had some fun ideas for a third Sherlock Holmes adventure.
Well, I hope you get a chance to work on that because I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. I love the 1 and 2.
Why is everyone suddenly standing
because you got
me?
snacks.
You brought your crazy.
Let's pull out those snacks.
Give us the treats.
Oh, so somebody needs to boil some water. Remember, if you want to do that,
can you do that?
That's the only thing that requires like additional preparation. You can microwave some. How do you not have a kettle? That's madness.
We're not British.
How do you drink your tea?
We're coffee drinkers.
I drink tea like 3 times a day.
Well, you're not getting tea today. You're getting Haley's.
Hello, nice to meet you. All right.
She's doing shows with us today.
Okay, so
right,
I didn't really.
this.
I didn't even know how to start with this.
Just bring them out. Show
So
them.
I've got.
All 3 of us.
It looks like me and my gay dad.
So this is
Seriously.
This was.
We have Slack for this exact reason. Sorry, continue.
I should get one of these T-shirts.
We'll
I
get
like
you
that.
one. We'll get you one.
This was tricky because, like I said, it's the third time I've done it.
Sure.
And I said before, it's kind of like the third great volume of the greatest hits album. Like all the good stuff kind of got used up. So I went out of. This was not cheap. I went online and ordered like a bunch of stuff to bring out, and some of it I ate already.
Sure, of course. I mean, you're only a man.
Because when I was trying to get a slot on your show, and it was like, I can't get a slot anymore because you're so big time. But when we were trying to work out a thing, you were like, "Is any of the food going to go bad?" And I said, "No, but I might just eat it. Like if this goes on for too long. So like just have me come in because this would not have lasted. Because they will actually eat all this stuff.
Power play.
So, I've got some nightmare mode items, but we'll leave. Let's start with fun stuff.
Okay, we're gonna do Cool Greg. Let's cue up the. Cool Greg's not there.
What have I got here?
Let's cue up the. Just have Skycam.
I'm just going to bring up this big bag here.
Oh my God, there's a lot here.
Do you want to give Instacart a free ad, or do you want to just put?
No, they're not paying us.
They're not paying you.
We're shills for money,
so why would you?
We can't.
All right. So, okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna promote. We're doing Brad Birch again. Not bad. Well, it's probably gonna be bad. All right.
Lovely.
Okay. So I did bring over some favorites. One of your audience members, I forget the name now, very kindly went back and looked at the old snack episodes to make sure that I didn't inadvertently repeat, and they sent me a list. Here's everything you've already done, and I was like, wow, that's almost all the good stuff. Like, how do I bring in more interesting things?
I'm
but I got some good
for
stuff.
Now what we have in this bag.
So
if we've gone through all the good stuff.
They're all no. There's good stuff in here.
We had a jar of something one time that was like it was a spread.
Vegemite.
Oh
yes.
Well, so we're going to take
Marmite,
that. We're going to take that to the next level.
Oh great.
I have. We'll get to it. You're going to like that. All right. So
the Pokemon that ended up on the cutting room floor that they didn't use.
Okay. When I was a kid, one of my favorite snacks, what you would think of as like potato chip, we call them crisps, potato chips, whatever, stuff in a bag, crunchy stuff in a bag, were called Monstermunch. And I have a bunch of them here, 3 different flavors. And there's a lot of English people who are watching this will recognize all of these. There's 3 main flavors. Flaming hot.
Love it.
Roast beef. What could be more English than that?
Can we get a Skycam on this?
I personally think the king of all the flavors, pickled onion. Pickled onion.
Actually, I think that's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
This is my favorite.
Pretty good.
Well, at
So
least
I'm
you're
gonna
going to start it off then.
So let's open these up, and you can.
I mean, I want flaming
back to the
hot.
normal.
Yeah.
Pickled onion. You can just pass these around.
Thank
And
you.
wants to try all.
Try it.
They're all. You think this is the best one?
It's my personal
I
favorite.
think they're gonna taste like dill pickles.
Uh-huh.
You guys know.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah,
It kind of smells like
It's still weird.
Salt and vinegar.
salt and vinegar.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Try one.
A little bit.
Oh, look at how I like the shape of these.
Yeah, they're little monster claws or whatever.
Oh yeah, that tastes like
I love
pickle.
the thickness of it. A lot of texture.
It's like a refined Funyun.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I'm
Someone,
Good answer.
because someone in the chat just said Space Raiders. I do actually have Space Raiders.
Skycam.
I have Space Raiders as well. We'll get to those.
Gary.
That's it.
I like
Back
how
up.
they're all like cereal.
Just feel it out, Cool Greg. Feel it out.
Yeah.
Flaming hot.
And I'll take a flaming hot. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, just take the bag and pass them around.
I'll pass the bag around.
Monstermunch. And here, this one's roast beef, so you can pass that around. I'm a pickled onion guy, always have been.
don't like this one.
Doesn't taste good enough.
No.
The roast beef's good.
Better than I thought it was.
Wait, where's the roast beef? Oh,
Roast beef.
What else have we got in here?
While we're picking through those, I'm gonna read a couple more tips. Marcus G says, Marcus, real name, no gimmick, says, hey Nick, thanks for the beautiful show last night. Hashtag K Fraser dot.
So good.
Chase12 gave us a very helpful tip. Says, my man Nick, please wish my lovely wife Stephanie a happy birthday as only you can.
What's the verdict on the? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
They're very good.
Greg,
so the spice ones.
You're the one with you're the one with the cooking show. You're the foodie file.
This is roast beef.
I would do that. Yeah.
Oh, I like it a lot.
Favorite. I like that one.
Ramen. Yeah. You nailed it.
Good. I'm glad. Okay, good.
There's like
We're on the same page.
You passed that particular test.
Expected
now,
flaming hot to be the best.
I know, right?
It's the worst.
Worse? No way. It's mid-tier.
Bacon is always popular.
Yeah.
This is another perennial favorite in the UK. They're called Frazzles.
Oh.
And they are like little bacon strips.
Oh, okay.
I will try
These I think will be very popular.
Okay.
Chase says, if you feel like adding a little dash of creepiness, nothing would be better. Thanks for all you guys you do. Rogue One was great. You got a nice little compliment on Rogue One. Cool, Greg, give me the one. Happy birthday, Stephanie. I hope today's great for you. And I hope Greg's taking his shirt off behind
very
me. Very bacony,
right?
Light coming from behind me. That's it.
No, we don't.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was going to say, the Frazzle we just had tastes like snoss or pepperoni smell.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're good.
I've always wanted to eat
Did you say pepperoni or pupperoni?
Those are really good.
The dog food?
Yeah,
okay.
The way it smells. Don't get me wrong, pepperoni smell delicious.
The bacon ones are amazing. They're my
The
favorite.
Frazzles are good,
They're
right?
fantastic.
I'll leave you with a couple of extra bags of those.
Please.
But we do have something similar in Canada that tastes like this.
Oh, you do? What are they called?
Hickory sticks.
Hickory sticks?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll continue So these are a
Weird.
much more traditional potato chip. Walker's crisps. Anyone who's from England will know these.
They
And
look
these
like
are
Lay's
smoked.
potato
These are
chips.
smoked. These are like Lay's, but they're
Okay.
smoky bacon flavor.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
So this might be new. Yeah, because you have these in the. I think this is just basically Lay's. I think Walker's is just what you call
Yeah,
it.
Walker's has the exact same logo. It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
So take the bag.
Okay.
So those are very bacony, and I think you'll enjoy those as well if you like bacon.
I like those.
Given how
Ours
popular
goes back.
bacon is in America, I'm actually amazed that this isn't like a mainstream flavor.
We have the barbecue chip. We're
Right.
huge on the barbecue chip here, but they
But
haven't.
you
They
know,
started
you
screwing with
get like
bacon.
bacon lip balm and all this bullshit now. Like I don't know why bacon
That shit out of there.
crisps
But bacon and
aren't
chocolate.
more of a thing.
That's very true.
Better than they should be.
Good, right?
You baked Lay's. I don't like it's a great chip.
Next tip comes from Nick Fontaine. It's a
put
writing
this down.
question for Gary if he's up for it. If not, just move on. How do you balance a character's internal conflict with the external conflict? Does it matter which takes priority in the story? That's a long question.
I don't know how to answer that.
I'll answer
right
it
off
for
the
you.
bat.
That's for Gary to know and you to find out. That's why Gary.
I'll happily
that's
come
why
back
Gary's
and do
awesome.
story time with you.
We'll do it next time you're back on. We'll do a
Some other
topic
time.
about your
That's
writing.
Yeah, we got to move
around.
around. Okay. Well, no. Everyone's
Or how are you so good
curated,
at
Greg.
tantric sex?
Don't mess with
There you go.
You have,
It's gonna be a
you
good
have
show today.
another
It's gonna be a good
hour-long show to do when this is done with me, Whitta.
All right.
Keep in mind,
So
you're
we'll
wasting your own time.
We'll move,
No, it's
we'll move
totally
through
good.
this quickly.
Go for
Now, this is the ultimate form of bacon snack.
Don't let him pressure you into speeding up.
So
He likes
Why
to
did
get
you
to his
the memo?
cool
It was
show.
Sunset Day.
these,
How did it come off?
because I know you like things where English food that has like funny names, like
Right.
spotted dick and what have you.
Okay. Silly.
These are called pork scratchings. And
scratchings.
if you've ever had pork, they're basically pork rinds.
Yeah, I
but
love
like
pork rinds.
I think like a kind of a more extreme version.
Now, pork rinds are very low in carbohydrates. I
Yes,
like
they
the-
are. If you're
I
on
like
like
to snack
if you're on
them
like an
keto.
Atkins kind
Yeah.
of thing, these are what you snack on.
Oh my god.
They're like chicharrones, yeah.
They're like chicharrones, but they're not as fried. So they're basically pure fat, and they're
Yeah,
amazing.
they are very.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like it.
That's a weird.
These are more love it or hate it.
Weird feel.
Those are not. Yeah, I'm a. Ooh.
I'm all about it.
Our final tip right now comes from the Assassin AK-47 and says, birthday tax, I turned 21 last Sunday, so what should be my first official alcoholic beverage? I'm also currently in college for journalism. Do you have any advice for me?
Get a Red Dog.
What's your favorite drink?
I don't drink anymore, but when I drank, I liked. I was a whiskey drinker. I used to like good bourbon. I used to drink Knob Creek.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Knob Creek on the rocks. Let's do that. How about that?
What about a Long Island iced tea?
No, we already did. We moved on. Greg, any journalism advice? Come on,
Blue Moon.
Go to
Here's-
class.
Here's another one
Yeah.
that I think will be divisive. This is
Okay.
a love it or hate it. These are very.
Go to class.
These are very powerfully flavored. These are Scampi flavor fries.
Oh, Scampi. A shrimp flavor.
But with a hint of like, you know how when you prepare fish, you drizzle a bit of lemon on, you give it a little lemon flavor. So these have the lemon flavor baked right in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
okay, I'm gonna try these then.
I'll let you pass those around.
This is gonna be my favorite.
These are very popular as a pub snack. They have these behind the bar in pubs.
Wrong with the
Goes very well with beer.
I could see that. Yeah.
What do you think?
Twice a day, man.
I like them.
These I've always felt are kind of quite divisive.
No, I love the texture. Oh man,
it's got a little. It's got a little.
Such a good feel.
Good.
There's a little space.
Oh, this one's actually more popular than I thought it might be.
It almost tastes like a good batter of like a fish and chip.
That's what they're. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be replicating.
I'm all about that.
So the Scampi fries are popular.
These are all great.
Okay. Just one real quick.
100 is a bad.
We'll stay with the.
I don't play in the sport.
We'll stay with the undersea theme. These are called Skips Prawn Cocktail or Shrimp Cocktail flavored crisp. Very light.
All right.
Very light and flavored.
Oh wait, now are these actually made of prawns? Because that's a thing now. I've noticed. They have chips
they're
that are
not.
made of
They're not prawn crackers, and they're not. But they kind of taste like pop chips. If you've had pop chips.
Yeah.
But these have been around since I was a kid.
When I was in Denmark, they had a new thing where they're actually making the chips out of like seafood. So it's kind of like.
This is not that.
It's not that. That might be that. It's got the same weird styrofoamy texture.
Do we have the hot water here?
We do. I think it's still hot.
All right. So we'll do the first. As we're moving from savory to sweet. We'll do the first nightmare mode item. I'm gonna need a spoon as well.
While you're getting that spoon, I'm gonna go into the section we call P.S. I Love This Best Friend XOXO. Of course, this is your opportunity to nominate someone you think is doing an awesome job in our community. You can go to kindafunny.com/bestfriend. I'm trying not to look at it. I don't want to know what it is. Just like Steve Stower did, he's shouting out Nick Kilburn. Says Nick has been my best friend for over a decade now since college, and he's always been a great friend. He has gone so far above and beyond lately, and it needs to be shouted out. The last year and a half of my life has been probably the roughest I've ever experienced, and the last few months in particular have been nearly unbearable. Nick has been a rock for me, a constant sounding board, and a source of comfort and advice. Recently recognizing that I am doing really poorly and struggling mightily with the challenges of my life, Nick went out and bought me a Nintendo Switch along with Splatoon 2 and Breath of the Wild. That's a good friend right there. I want to repeat that. My best friend bought me a goddamn Switch. He wanted me to be able to play Splatoon with him and sink time into Zelda, knowing it would make me feel better and keep my mind off the difficult times I'm going through right now. I literally cried when he told me what he had done. I can't think of anyone more deserving a shout out. Without Nick, I don't know if I'd be here. So I want to say, okay, different Nick. So I want to say thank you and make sure everyone knows how awesome he is. That is fucking awesome. There you go. That's what we're talking about. There's two things we keep here at Kind of Funny. Weird British snacks and best friends. That's what we like to do. And those go so well together hand in hand.
Gary Whitta's both.
So on a previous on a previous show, I brought in something called Marmite. Which is very love it or hate it. And in Australia, they have a version of it called Vegemite. It's essentially a weird kind of yeast extract.
Right in the upper teeth.
Oh my god! You spread it on toast. You got to. It's like nitroglycerin. Like just the slightest amount is all you need. This Bovril is the carnivorous version of Marmite. This is basically beef that you drink. This is beef extract.
I'm in.
And it's very popular. It's kind of like a nighttime before you go to bed kind of drink. It's also very popular football fans who go like on a cold day to watch their team play. You put some of this in a flask.
Okay, so it's kind of like bone broth-ish maybe?
I hesitate to...
okay. We could have got you a smaller spoon.
The spoon that you gave me is... I'm going to do this. I'm going to dip in this side.
Oh my god.
Look at this stuff.
What is that? That's the stuff that came out of the penguin's mouth. I'm telling you that right now.
Look at this. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here.
The tar that the Jurassic Park people are sucking.
Do most people dilute it, or do some people ever just like do?
I have never tried to eat this straight off the spoon. I think that would probably be a terrible idea.
It's also just
so we're gonna wait for this to
everywhere.
Kind of a little bit. I've done this all wrong.
No, Gary!
It's just
It's fine.
Gary!
It's fine.
It's super like.
I'm actually starting to remember now why I like it.
Available now on demand.
Let's get a little bit more in there.
Greedy Ear says absolutely get that whatever the hell this stuff's called out on the footy.
Oh yeah. Very, very popular. Keeps you warm on a cold day.
There you go. There you go.
So I'm not sure how well any of this is working.
Cool, Greg. Can we have Skycam for this so we can just see what this looks like right here?
Let this continue to.
It is black. It is the black blood of the earth right here. That's what this is.
It's serious
and
stuff.
it got out of my hand, and now I don't know what to do. Do I taste it?
Kevin Shirt. No, Nick, don't eat it. You're not British.
I'm into that.
You're not prepared for this.
That is good right there.
Oh, you like it, right?
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like when you make steak and no one's looking and you just kind of scrape off some of the remnants and eat that.
So super salty?
It's hyper.
It's all fat and salt. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like rendered down.
It is.
You know, it's like a very much use every part of the animal kind of product. So let's give this a try here. I'm going to take a little sip and see how well this has worked.
Mage Alish in the chat says, "Isn't that Quill Ink?" No,
it's not strong enough, but you can try it.
All right,
it needs to dissolve more into the Here, let me do this.
Man, Nick's taking it down.
Oh, that's tasty.
Right?
I'm in. No, you got to put more in there.
I'm gonna get some more. Let's get some more in there. Here we go. There we go. Let that dissolve.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
Let that dissolve. We'll come back to it.
This is my favorite morning show we've ever done. I like snacks, Greg.
You're just drinking beef.
All right, I got one more nightmare mode for it. This is the last savory thing.
Okay.
Now I come from I come from a part of London. You would never guess this. Like living here for 20 years, my accent has changed a lot. But I come from the East End of London. I'm a Cockney. I can't even do the accent anymore. I know if I even tried to do my own accent, I would sound like Dick Van Dyke doing a bad one. So I can't even do like where I come from anymore.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, we used to eat these. These are called cockles. You ever had a cockle?
Oh. These are all Harry Potter things, dude.
They're like
Have you ever had a mussel?
Yes,
out of a shell? It's like that.
Okay.
So now
I'm in. There's probably good protein in this.
They're little shellfish.
Okay.
This is the way I used to do it. You bring a toothpick and you just kind of stab one out of here. They're very little.
Should I pass out toothpicks?
No, I'll just pass it around with a toothpick.
There you go.
There we go.
We'll give you a
texture.
The face you're making.
It's like an oyster. It looks like an oyster almost a little bit, right?
like that.
Shell or anything to
Is it a
worry
little
about,
chewy?
though, right?
Nope. They're very little.
It's probably
they're
they're
pickled, so you're going to get like a little pickle flavor.
Oh, I'm down.
I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm
Good,
into that.
right?
They look worse than that.
It's always the things that you think are going to be the grossest. You actually go, wait, hold on. These are pretty good.
It tastes like a little oyster or a mussel. That's
I
what it tastes
feel
like.
like I'm eating a snack in like
Probably good protein.
in the show Firefly or something.
Yeah, right? It looks like something they serve at like an alien banquet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
Or
those are good.
like the Vulcans think it's really good, but no one else can palate it.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is a good thing.
I'm like, you're gonna like it.
This is when they talk about it warms my cockles.
Yeah, the cockles of your heart.
We have.
Is that really where it comes
oysters
from?
in our heart?
I think it is.
You know, I will tell you this. You're responsible for a lot of great things in the world, but
That's
one of the
better.
things
Now that's drinkable.
One of the things that I owe to you is now I now say champing at the bit, not chomping at the bit, and that's because it's the first time you were on the
Also
podcast.
correct, yes.
It tastes like fisherman.
See, this is fantastic. You know what this tastes like?
Now
It just tastes like chicken soup.
imagine that in a flask on like a cold day.
Yeah, like well, here we do that every once in a while. We'll put chicken soup in a flash and you sip it out of that.
That's essentially what that is. Yeah.
I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna wipe this.
No, just crack it.
Oh, yeah.
Like sardines.
I'll leave this little jar
Kev, you want to try
with
some of
you.
the beef broth?
Did you try one?
Yeah.
Not a fan?
It's all right. They're gross. They're just gross.
Do you not like oysters or mussels?
Do I not? I eat oysters.
What was the verdict on those overall?
Yeah.
Good?
There you go. That's a plug for your cool show.
Go to Greg at youtube.com/kindfun.
And now the Bob
Episode 2
is
live now. It's a big cartoon.
Elise is into the
It really helps to imagine it being a nice cold day.
It's like if you were drinking soup broth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's just kind of like beef.
like
It's
chicken
like a
soup.
beefy broth. It's just because
really
it
good.
looks like this disgusting tar when it
Yeah,
comes in the jar.
they didn't do themselves any favors by packing it into that brown jar.
Very, very popular.
Oh, thank you.
All right, while they finish those up, it's giveaway time. Of course, this week we have two lovely sponsors for our giveaways. So we're going to be giving away two different games. Our first sponsor today is Movement Watches. Movement Watches was founded. That's okay. You guys can talk. You guys keep the party going. It's okay. I don't mind. I like it. I like to be around
It's
everything.
already happened. Look at that.
I'm gonna get all your germs because I'm drinking this.
Movement Watches was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank.
No,
the
it's good,
watchmaker's
right?
goal
It's not just me.
is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high-quality, minimalist products at revolutionary prices. With over 1 million watches sold to customers in 160-plus countries around the world, Movement Watches has solidified itself as the world's fastest-growing watch company. Kevin loves his watch. Cool Greg, I believe, has one of these watches. Everyone I know is jumping on the. Sean Finnegan showed me. He's like, check this out, and I'm like, that's a Movement watch. He goes, I know, I'm so cool. And I was like, but did you use our thing? He's like, yeah, I used your thing. I'm like, well, then we're the cool ones.
Good job, Sean Finnegan.
We're the cool
like
ones.
you usually, but you did good there.
Exactly.
The shark is attacking.
Chomp, chomp my ass. Movement watches starting at just $95. At a department store, you're looking at somewhere in the ballpark of $400 to $500 for the same kind of watch. Movement figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman and retail markup, providing the best possible price These are classic designs, quality construction, styled minimalism. Right now, you can get 15% off with free shipping and free returns if you don't like it, but I guarantee you will, by going to mvmt.com/KFMS. That's mvmt.com/KFMS. Now is the time to step up your watch game. Join the movement. Or as Greg would like to say, what else are you going to wear on your wrist? A shoe?
Oh, a shoe.
Yeah. A watch? A watch?
All right, I'm sorry. I'm not fine. I'm not cinders. It was long. I came over to show you.
I feel that. I feel that. Our next.
You still sound drunk, actually.
My tongue was not ready. The cockle did something to me.
That cockle took it right to the face. Naturebox is our next illustrious sponsor. We all want to eat better. When it comes to snacks, things can seem pretty dire. It doesn't have to be that way. Up your snack game with Naturebox. Naturebox has over 100 snacks that taste good and are actually better for you. All snacks are made from high-quality, simple ingredients which means no artificial colors, sweeteners, or flavors. So you can feel good about what you're eating. Now Tim says Gia loves Naturebox. Gia does not mess around when it comes to food.
Them all. Are you aware
Did she
of this?
steal them all?
Yeah.
Oh, they keep the. Is that why we don't have it in the office?
They're sending our Naturebox to their house and we don't get it.
This is unacceptable, sir. Unacceptable. Gia, Greg and I are watching.
We're looking out for you.
We're looking out for you right now. You're sure to find your new snack obsession at Naturebox. They add new snacks every month inspired by real customer feedback, the latest food trends, and professional chefs. It's so simple. Just go to naturebox.com, choose the snacks you want, and Naturebox will deliver them right to your door. And there's no risk. If you ever try a snack you don't like, don't eat it. Don't pull me or Kevin. Don't eat it. Put it back in the box, and they'll replace it for free. And right now, Naturebox is offering Kinda Funny Morning Show fans 50% off your first order when you go to naturebox.com/morning. That's naturebox.com/morning for 50% off your first order. naturebox.com/morning. Up your snack game, for Christ's sake. And the giveaway winners today. Our first winner comes from the Twitch chat. It is Kinky Flamingo, has won Steep on PS4. You've got the season pass there. Congratulations. And our next winner has won Mega Man Legacy Collection #2 for Xbox One. That is, we don't have a person for that.
Oh, I picked it, but I might not have pasted it.
Joey,
go out. Just figure out who it is. Come back and say it.
You gotta eat all the beef stuff without any water in it.
Chug the beef.
Chug the beef. Chug the beef. Chug the beef. Joey!
She's not gonna do it. Let this go.
We're a little long on the show, but we do want to get a chance
I
to have
apologize.
Not long at all.
We're very long.
You're fucking long.
You know what? Here's the deal. When what are those?
I just have to say in the chat, like, we're not going to chat. You've been pulling
some stuff from the chat.
Talking to the chat.
Yeah,
I think it's so.
The snacks while in the show, we're getting kind of funny games.
I think it's so great that you did a commercial for healthy snacks in the middle of this segment.
I think it's perfect.
Because if you want artificial colors and preservatives, I've got you covered right here. All right, so we're over. So we'll try and blow through these last ones. Sure. This is the sweet stuff. This is the fun stuff. When I was a kid, I used to get these for a penny a piece after school. Blackjacks and fruit salads. Okay. So these are the fruit salads. Okay. These are little fruit chews. These, you do these ones. These are much more interesting.
Are these licorice?
Aniseed.
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
That sounds poisonous.
No. It's low doses is totally fine. You just see shit. Oh, it's super good.
Okay. You just see shit.
I don't know. Can you trip out? So these are little penny snacks.
Okay.
When I was a kid, like I said, these were very popular. Fruit salads are good. I like the blackjacks better.
So these are like your version of the Starburst.
Yeah, kind of. But there's no version of this as a Starburst.
I'm excited for this.
Oh, by the way, it was Mark Jagels.
Mark who?
Jagels.
Mark Jagels from where?
KF Patreon.
From the KF Patreon. You've won whatever I just said. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I mean, licorice and aniseed are not that different from one another.
Congratulations. Look out.
But these are...
Yo, go for it. Get in there.
What's the black one?
Aniseed. It's called a blackjack.
Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Hey, do you want a black one?
I don't think I do.
Oh, that's interesting.
I haven't had one of these in years.
I like that.
I like the blackjacks more than the fruit salad.
Me too.
And I didn't expect to say that.
Man, no. I'm all about the fruit salad.
Yeah, the fruit salad's real good.
Real good. Now,
Fruit salad tastes like bubblegum.
you guys have been very good and put up with some awful food. Everyone remembers how much they like Jammie Dodgers, right? Jammie Dodgers are just universally loved.
Kevin had sex with Jammie Dodgers.
I had brought those in previously, but they make berry Jammie Dodgers now.
I want the berries. Give me the berries.
This is your reward for putting it. This is something that I know everyone will like because Jammie Dodgers you really can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong with this.
And you put up with cockles and bovril and God knows what else. So this is like a little palate cleanser, something that I know everyone will.
Okay. Anyone smart enough to take a biscuit and just jam jelly in the middle of it? Got my vote.
Cannot go wrong with a Jammie Dodger. A little heart, a little berry heart in the middle there. What more could you ask
I'm
for?
gonna grab 2. One for cool, Greg.
Sure you are.
That's very thoughtful of you.
We had Jammie Dodgers before.
No!
Well, while we're eating our final snack, I will go ahead and round up the show. This has been one of my favorite morning shows ever. Gary, thanks for joining us. This is
I still
awesome.
have more snacks. So I have to bring it back another time.
Oh shit!
I have so much more stuff.
I
brought too many things.
No, you left your spotted dick in the house.
Well, let me. For the sake of the audience, at least,
let's give people a preview of what we're going to see later.
Yeah, if you want to do these later, I brought. Let's see, what did I bring? I brought Mr. Kipling's Jam Tarts, which are very popular, and what we call Cherry Bakewells, which are also very good. You are going to love those.
I want a Cherry Bakewell.
Oh, and another English penguins. Pick up a penguin, very classic.
Well, if Greg
and
wasn't
wagon wheels,
for his
I have got everything for you here. These are like moon pies.
We gotta do one wagon wheel.
You want to do a wagon wheel?
Wagon wheel. Hey, bring it wagon wheel back. I will leave these with you. If you want to eat these off the show, you can do whatever you want with them.
You can keep signing off. We're just gonna get into some wagon wheels here.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. on Twitch. We love you all. I will be reading subscribers while these guys snack, and we've set up for Kind of Funny Games Daily, which Gary will be joining Greg on as well.
So the wagon wheels are very popular in the chat right now.
They look people are flipping their shit in the
There's 6 of those, so there should be enough to kind of go around. I don't need one.
I love you all. We'll be right back. Stick around.
And these are too. If you like Tim Tams, you'll like